We just got out of the courthouse, and I think it's pretty fair to say that at this moment, it just feels like it's over for Sam Bankman-Fried. Honestly, if before lunch it felt like we were witnessing a murder, then afterward we were witnessing somebody just stab a dead body over and over and over and over and over again.
The trial of Sam Bankman-Fried is happening now. It actually started weeks ago. We're near a month in. And while this is not being televised, nor are any electronic recording devices allowed in the courtroom, the coverage we're getting from multiple crypto journalists who are there, they sit in, they report back, is wild.
And oh my God, I'm like still numb from today. I don't even know what I feel or what I think. That's not true. I have so many thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to share all of them right now. But Sam, we finished getting the direct questioning of Sam by his own defense counsel, and then he was cross-examined. And I think I said last week that there's a chance Sam was going to get obliterated in cross-examination. I mean, I definitely think you could make a solid argument that Sam got obliterated in cross-examination today.
Basically, Danielle Sassoon, again, trotted out multiple statements that Sam Bankman-Fried made and multiple statements where he contradicted those statements. He, was often evasive. She just caught him in so many things. She got him to admit that...
Overall, high level, it looks like Sam Bankman-Fried's strategy is essentially saying he doesn't remember anything. When asked difficult questions, or even not so difficult questions like, do you remember saying this in an interview? It sounds like Sam's go-to responses are, I don't recall, or no, but I may have, or I don't specifically remember that, or I don't know exactly what you're referring to there, or just, I don't remember. When the government then proceeds to pull up hard evidence of him making certain statements or signing specific documents, Sam will then say things like, well, I'm not saying that I didn't say that, or I vaguely remember that, or I don't remember that. So he basically just seems unwilling to give a straight answer or take any responsibility for things that he said or did, and is instead just going the route of being incredibly evasive and cagey and difficult and overall quite unlikable. Throughout Sam's cross-examination, I even added little notes like, I want to smack him, and dickhead.
And I do want to give full credit to the podcasters and the citizen journalists that are there. We have Laura Shin of the Unchained podcast, Tiffany Fong on YouTube and Twitter as Tiffany Fong, and Carly of Overpriced JPEGs. Links to all channels down below. Highly recommend to follow. And while you can just tell that yes, we are 4 weeks into this trial, SBF has taken the stand, and it does not seem it's going well. This is building and building and building, and even if we go all the way back to just day 2, the reaction to Sam Bankman-Fried's lawyers, his defense, wasn't that much better.
All right, today was definitely the spiciest, just like overview,
yes.
The spiciest day of the trial so
It
far.
has
Would you
been.
agree?
Oh yeah, day 1 was boring, day 2 was getting more interesting, but today we got some real insiders talking.
And we're gonna talk a little bit about everything that happened today, and then we'll break it down. I just want to say, like, up top, high level, it is not looking good for Sam.
Oh, no.
Thus far. I mean, we're early in this trial, but it almost already feels hard to think of the defense climbing out of this hole.
Yes, the prosecution has a very straightforward, easy to understand Exhibit A. You committed fraud. It seems pretty straightforward.
And by contrast, the defense is what?
It's very convoluted. Sam's legal team is not doing so great.
It literally seems almost non-existent. I trust that these lawyers that Sam has, and again, we'll get into more specifics in just a minute, but like, I trust his lawyers. Obviously, they're well paid, they're very smart, they must be good. I just have to assume there's like a lot that they've been told they can't bring up in court.
Yes.
Like, that would be helpful to them. Like, it's actually kind of confusing because the defense seems so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly relative to the prosecution.
I don't think they made any strong points today.
So again, that was day 2. We're now on week 4. And while just today, the defense rests, meaning the jury will soon deliberate, this is something you'll probably tell your grandkids about. There's one way that SBF could be declared innocent. One way.
We're basically workshopping what his only shot of his defense would be, right?
Well, and think about it, Sachs.
But again, just to make things very clear, this was the outcome of the last 2 days.
I mean, look, you never know how a jury is reacting to something, but if the reaction of all of us is anything to go on, and frankly, and you'll hear a little bit about this later probably, like, I'm probably more sympathetic to him than a lot of folks today, and I'll get into that, but like, it was bad. I don't know what his strategy was here, but he basically refused to answer anything straightforwardly or directly, even when it seemed very benign to do so.
He tried to evade her many, many times. There was this one moment where it was a little bit torturous about like who was the board member of Alameda or something, and there was only one, which was him. There was another time when she wanted him to like admit something about preventing clawbacks, and since he wasn't doing it, she brought up a document and she said, like the top of it said something, how does Alameda prevent blah blah blah, or how does Alameda do something? I don't remember. And then the next header underneath it was preventing clawbacks. And she asked him to read what was below it, but instead of reading that, he read the text under that header. So she had to ask him to read the header, and he said, the first word is preventing, the second word is clawbacks. So he refused to say preventing clawbacks. It just went on and on. Like, it was, I don't know. Like I said, I felt like I was watching somebody just beat a dead body.
I even added little notes like, I want to smack him, and dickhead. I can't imagine any members of the jury reading this favorably. I will also say that Sam being unwilling to admit to broad statements that he's clearly made, like stating that FTX is a safe exchange, to which he's responded that he does not recall making any statements like that, even though he very clearly has, in my opinion, absolutely damages his credibility and every word out of his mouth.
She caught him in something where, like, he said he didn't have access to the AWS database. But then she pointed out that actually after FTX filed for bankruptcy, he had, one of the first things he had done is he kept asking the FTX estate to reestablish his access to the AWS database. She asked him something like, oh, did you, say that you wanted to call the broker for Robinhood to see if they would just like hand over the shares to you without thinking too much about it? And he was evasive on that. And then so she pulled up a Google document in which he had written that as a note to himself. It was like on and on and on and on and on.
And I don't even know why Sam bothered with this whole shtick, because first of all, it was incredibly frustrating to watch. And secondly, just putting myself in the juror's shoes, if this guy is being dishonest about or unable to admit to statements that we have clear, hard evidence for, how are we supposed to believe his answers to tougher questions like, did you knowingly steal FTX customer funds? Needless to say, Sam is now learning why he should not have done these post-collapse interviews.
There were moments when she asked him questions and he would just have his head kind of bowed down for a little while. Multiple people noticed that he had like a kind of different attitude after, like a little bit, what's the word? Kind of, like resentful, like a little bit like that thing about the first word is preventing, the second word is clawbacks, like a little bit of an attitude. I can't imagine that sort of thing going over well with a jury. So
now, again, the defense rests. Laura Shin gives a final update on what to expect next. But while it does look like SBF may be going away for a long, long time, the besties on the All In podcast do discuss the one thing that Sam Bankman-Fried could be declared innocent, and this would be genius.
It's actually a fascinating defense strategy. I think this is their only shot. One of our besties had this theory that he was prescribed 2 prescription drugs. One was Adderall. What was the other one called? This was not a drug.
ESAM? The patch.
It's a drug I wasn't familiar with. I guess it's a patch. But when you combine these two things, apparently it basically shuts down or kills the part of your brain that deals with
inhibition.
It's cocaine.
Yeah.
What if his defense strategy was, like only an insane person would do this, and I was acting insane because I was prescribed these drugs that had these drug conflicts, and it like killed part of my brain.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
what if every criminal on Wall Street said, cocaine is my defense?
But this, you could say maybe he was legally prescribed it if you could show the prescription. By the way, I'm not saying this should get him off. We're basically workshopping what his only shot of his defense would be, right?
Well, and think about it, Sachs. He acted manic after FTX collapsed. So that mania of doing 20 Twitter spaces would be
There's
evidence.
Something so insane about what he did, right? It's almost like a...
What do you think? Give me your take on that down below in the comment section. I seriously would love to know your thoughts, innocent or guilty. Comment down below.
The only way that you could come up with that is like you'd have to have two parents that were like law professors or something.
All right. Most loathsome company, FTX
what if
for me.
this is his defense, Yeah,
my parents, boo-hoo.
No. He'll claim insanity, JCal. He'll say,
of course, yeah.
And they'll have do we think that his parents aren't going to help his defense?
The defense rests. The jurors will soon deliberate. Where are we today?
And so now this afternoon we'll be going over, the judge and the lawyers will be hashing out the instructions for the jury. So anyway, that's the update.
Click subscribe for one video per day, keeping you up to date on crypto. And like always, see you tomorrow.